Hi everybody. On these slides we are going to cover the leeches, which are members of phylum Annelida, class Clitellata, and subclass Hirudinea. Leeches are well made for a lifestyle of ingesting a large amount of blood, and we will see why in just a few moments. But first, let's take a look at this photo and look at some of the external anatomy. First, note that there are two suckers on the body. There's one that's the anterior sucker, and then the second one is the posterior sucker. Okay, so those two red circles indicate the anterior and the posterior suckers. Inside the anterior sucker is where the mouth is, and these suckers can be used for movement. So a leech moves in an inchworm-like way, where the anterior sucker adheres to a surface and the posterior one can then move forward. And then when the posterior one adheres to a surface, the anterior one can move forward. I would recommend looking at a video to see what that looks like. Next, as you look along the body, you can see that there are about 100 segments. However, on the inside of the body, there are only 32, and we will see why in just a few moments. Lastly, toward the anterior body, there is a clitellum, which is a mucus-secreting organ for reproductive purposes. It basically serves the same function as it does in an earthworm. It's just not as visible in a leech. Okay, so as mentioned before, a leech is well adapted for ingesting a large amount of blood. In addition to having only 32 segments internally, there is a large gastric cecum. And you will see a red rectangle appear around that toward the middle of the slide. Okay, there it is. So again, having only 32 internal segments and having a large gastric cecum allows the inside of the body to expand enough so that the leech can make the most of its meal. On the left-hand side of the slide, you can see a Y-shaped incision that a leech would make as it's having a blood meal. And then as it's doing that, it's secreting an anticoagulant called hirudin, just again, so it can get the full meal if it's able to do so. And then on the right-hand side of the slide, you're seeing some of the mouth parts which are under the anterior sucker, like the jaws and the teeth. Additionally, leeches lack a hydrostatic skeleton for movement. They are hermaphroditic, meaning they have male and female reproductive organs, and they respire through their skin. Once again, those are leeches, phylum Annelida, class Clitellata, and subclass Hirudinea.